in the Epstein investigation. We'll be having former Attorney General Pam Bondi. This is the second time she's come voluntarily. She came a few months ago for a briefing. Unfortunately, the Democrats got up and walked out of that briefing. Many of the Republicans asked her questions for a couple of hours during that briefing, and I appreciate that she's coming back today voluntarily for a transcribed interview. We have, as I said earlier, this is the 13th interview. We have 6 more on the books. On June 9th, we have Leslie Groff, who is an Epstein assistant. June 10th, Bill Gates. I think everyone knows who that is. June 26th, Leon Black. June 30th, Doug Band. July 15th, Kathy Rumler. And July 23rd, Jess Staley. So we're continuing to move along, and hopefully today will be beneficial. I'll be happy to answer questions.
Chairman Holman, what is your message right now to many of the Epstein survivors who are here today? They were here behind the Attorney General, the former Attorney General, back in February when she testified to the committee. She wouldn't turn around. What is your message to them today about accountability and transparency? Because many of them say that the Justice Department still has yet to meet them.
Well, I've said this publicly many times. The government has failed the survivors. There's no question about that. And that dates back 5 presidential administrations. We're taking this investigation seriously. The last interview we had, deposition, we had some names mentioned for the first time. So we're proceeding with that. We want to get the truth to the American people. We want to try to provide justice for the survivors. And again, this case hasn't been thoroughly investigated. I think that's one thing that we all can see. When I subpoenaed the estate, I believe with all my heart some of the estate documents that we made public, we made 100% of the estate documents public. I believe that there were many in the Department of Justice had never seen many of those documents that were in the estate. And I believe that people that had been looking at the estate had never seen any of the documents that the Department of Justice had. I believe there are documents that New Mexico officials had never seen that were in the Southern District of New York. I believe there were documents that were in Palm Beach that they had never seen in New York. So what we're trying to do is just connect all the dots and see if there is a way to hold people accountable. Remember, many of these crimes happened 20 plus years ago. We're going to do everything in our ability to hold people accountable and try to understand how the government failed. But they did. They failed. There's no question. And it's not just this administration. It goes back several administrations. So we're going to do everything in our ability to try to get justice for the victims.
So, Mr. Chairman, there are documents that still have not been released.
Well, that's what we're going to ask about today, and we asked about that in the briefing. And at the time, what if I remember correctly, what the Attorney General said, the former Attorney General, was that they had turned over all the documents that they can legally turn over. Now, we're going to find out. Those are the questions that we're going to have. We're going to go to the first hour. What documents remain? Why haven't they been turned over? We're going to try to determine whether or not there can be more documents legally turned over. I want every document. I don't want anything held back, and I think the majority of the committee is the same way.
Does that answer satisfy you, though, if some documents are still always withheld?
Well, I don't know. We're going to find out, and we'll come out and tell you what she said. We'll release all the transcripts, and if anyone is lying to Congress, that's a felony. So,
Mr. Chairman, I think this is voluntary when she was subpoenaed. Why are you describing it as voluntary after the subpoena?
She's coming in. She didn't do like the Clintons and take 7 months to come in. I mean, this is, she could have fought it. She could have fought it.
But she's running at the top, and there are just a dozen leads in the files. And these people cannot be brought in under transcribed interviews. Can you ensure that they would please be brought in under oath?
Well, if you lie to Congress, it's a felony. So it's we're bringing them in. We're bringing people in that have never been brought in before. Most of the people, what I find fascinating about this is we brought in Epstein's top assistant, we brought in Epstein's lawyer, and we brought in Epstein's accountant. They were never interviewed by the people who were supposedly investigating Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. How do you not interview those 3 people?
but these people have to speak under oath.
Yeah, we're
Chairman
gonna,
Comer,
there's line to this.
can you assure us that today we will get information from Pam Bondi about why the files were released in the manner that they were released, specifically the redaction process?
Yeah.
Survivors' names over and over and over were exposed, yet we see time and time again perpetrators' names have been redacted when they shouldn't have been.
Well,
are we going to get some answers about
I
that?
hope so. Those are questions we're going to ask, and we're doing this. We want justice for the survivors. We do. We've got Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert, and you got the Democrat members. Everyone has gone to great lengths to try to get this far, and I hope that you all will see. Many of these people have never been interviewed before. I don't know how that can even be possible. So we're going to bring them in, and we're releasing every transcript. You'll know everything that's been asked, and if there are questions at the conclusion of this that weren't asked that you all felt should be asked, then let us know, and we will get those questions answered. We're going to do everything in our ability.
Chairman, bottom line, Epstein is gone, but there are many people that were on the island, there are many people that were involved that have not been brought to justice. Is that what you're hoping to bring?
We're going to do everything we can. We want to bring people to justice. If anyone was involved in these hideous crimes, they should be held accountable. We're doing everything we can. And remember, these crimes occurred decades ago, some of them. But all along the way, I think the one thing that we can say with confidence as far as the survivors were failed by the government. And I hope that we can do the best that we can do in getting answers and getting the truth to the American people, trying to provide some type of justice for the survivors, and if there's any way possible to hold people accountable. That's what we want to see happen. So,
Really appreciate
well,
your
we
office.
thank you for being here, and again, we will continue communications, and if there are questions that aren't asked, anything you're not satisfied, let us know, and we'll do everything in our ability to get answers for you all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all.
Ladies, are you satisfied with what he said?
Well, yes, I appreciate that they were bringing in people that the government has not brought in before, and that the Department of Justice and FBI were not willing to take these leads. There are leads. And so we're hoping to get to some truth and accountability. This is what matters. The American public and we deserve the truth. That's it. That's all about the truth.
And again, there are a number of people out there that have never been interviewed, that have never been brought to justice.
Yeah.
And you want
Yeah.
to see that happen, every single one of them.
Every single one of them, and if they say, I don't remember, we don't believe them because we remember, and those questions need to be asked again. And if there's a deflection, we are going to get to the bottom of this. Us as survivors, we deserve the truth, and so does everybody else.
We have you state your name, please,
Charlene Rochard.
and the spelling of that, please.
SHARLENEROCHARD. It boggles my mind that the Department of Justice released nude photos. Nude photos. The Department of Justice released pornography. That is unacceptable.
And the other thing that's unacceptable are these transcribed interviews. We need to see body language. We want to see the pauses. We know that these witnesses can go off record and things transpire off the record that the American people are not able to see. And we think it is critically important in this moment when Chairman Comer is exactly right. These women have been failed by numerous administrations. That is true, but this is the moment where we need truth, transparency, and ultimately accountability. And so we're relying on those people in that room to get to the truth.
Your name is
Lauren Hirsch, I'm the CEO of World Without Exploitation.
Do you guys believe that Chairman Comer is operating in good faith as he
We do, yeah. We've had great conversations with Comer's office. They've been lovely with us. We've talked about investigative leads multiple times. I think they see a need to investigate, which is very helpful. We just wish that more Republicans would be on the same page with us and stand in solidarity with us. Hopefully, we'll see that in the future.
Could you please identify yourself?
Yeah, name is Dani, D-A-N-I, last name Bensky, B-E-N-S-K-Y. But I do want to make a note also about the importance of body language and inflection in the voice, right? There's something called subtext that we all know about. And when we get a transcribed interview, we have no idea. It could be totally lost in translation. So it's incredibly vital that we see filmed interviews, not just the transcription, under oath, and have it be publicly released quickly.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Liz Stein. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. How's life, Papa Partis? Are you doing all right?
How are you doing?
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's going to be just very brief. Good morning.
Good to see you. How are you?
Just very brief. I know we're about to start. Robert Garcia, the leader of House Democrats on the committee. I just want to be very clear that we continue to be incredibly disappointed of the decision to not have this interview videotaped and then released to the American public. The second thing we asked Chairman Comer is to ensure that this interview is under oath. We understand the Attorney General is going to be there answering questions from Congress, but it should have been under oath and it should be videotaped. We obviously have a lot of questions as it relates to why only 50% of the files have been released, why many of the survivors were literally put in danger by the way the files were released, that private information should never have been released, and of course, why this continues to be some type of cover-up. And so those are our questions. There's many questions. We'll be here for the next few hours, but it's really important that we get to the truth and that the Attorney General answers the questions truthfully, and we'll continue to push, of course, for a videotape release transcript for everybody else. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
How's everybody doing? Yes. Okay. Good morning. I'm Lauren Hirsch, the CEO of World Without Exploitation. In November, President Trump signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and survivors were promised truth, transparency, and accountability in a way that no previous administration ever did. And at that time, we were hopeful. But in the last 6 months, we have seen anything but truth, transparency, and justice. Survivors deserve answers about why their private information has been released not once, not twice, but 3 times, even after their attorneys told DOJ that their names had been released. They deserve answers as to why key records remain withheld. They deserve answers why some names of those who exploited these women were redacted time and time again. They deserve answers of why critical leads that could identify additional perpetrators, enablers, and buyers have not been fully pursued. As a former prosecutor, I understand investigative leads. And these files, the 3 million that have been disclosed, contain lots of investigative leads. They are there in black and white. And the survivors deserve to know why we are being told that these leads are not being followed. Former Attorney Pam Bondi's testimony should never happen behind closed doors, in a room without cameras and without the public being able to see what is asked, what is answered, her inflection, and her body language. After months and months of victims' names being revealed again and again, and nude images of some of these victims being released to the American public, now you're asking them to trust a closed-door process where she can decide when she wants to go off the record? This is patently wrong. Survivors have testified again and again. They've filed police reports, they've spoken to the public, they've spoken to you, the media, they've asked for meetings with DOJ. Let me say that again. They have asked for meetings with DOJ, and maybe someone's gotten a meeting, but these survivors sure haven't. They have relived their trauma again and again in the hopes that the government would finally provide them with truth, transparency, and justice. And I can assure you of one thing: we will get there. It may not happen today or tomorrow, but these women are not going away. We're going to get there. And so once again, Epstein survivors are back in D.C. They're here today. They're willing to speak to all of you. They're willing to meet with DOJ. They're willing to meet with Republicans. They're willing to meet with Democrats. They are willing to meet with anyone, because for them, this is not about politics. This is about their lives. And they are ready to answer your questions, even if Pam Bondi and DOJ does not. With that, I'm going to introduce my friend and colleague, Charlene Rochard.
Hi, my name is Charlene Rochard. In some of the pages of these files is evidence of a teen model who traveled the world in the fashion and beauty industries, and in that world is where I met Jeffrey Epstein's network. The same pages were ignored by Attorney General Pam Bondi. Today, fired former U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi will appear before Congress about how the Department of Justice mishandled the Epstein Files. This mishandling may violate the Epstein Files Transparency Act, federal privacy protections, and DOJ procedures for safeguarding sensitive evidence. She clearly has a problem with transparency, as she is now appearing only in a closed-door, unsworn setting and will not be filmed in a process that shields her from answering the hardest questions. Under her watch, millions of pages of Epstein documents were released in ways that protected the powerful while exposing survivors. And because of this, she could be stripped of her law license due to the egregious violation of the Crime Victims' Rights Act. Authoritative sources show she is under scrutiny for other potential legal violations, including subpoena noncompliance, false statements, mishandling evidence, and violation of federal law. Congress and the DOJ are now examining whether those actions cross into criminal activity. And now she must answer for all of it. This epic failure wasn't a harmless oversight. It was a failure of duty, a failure of the law, and a complete failure of just basic justice. Leads were ignored, evidence was mishandled, and there are crimes buried in these files that still demand accountability. This is why legislative advocacy matters to me, even at the level of the Department of Justice, especially at the level of Department of Justice. I am here today because reform is needed at every single level, from how evidence is handled, to how subpoenas are enforced, to how survivors' identities are protected, and yes, especially how the Department of Justice chooses its Attorney General. I am here today because reform is needed at, my work now is to make sure that what happens to me and so many other survivors is never allowed to happen again. And I will keep pushing until accountability isn't just a talking point, but it's the law. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Shirley. Hi, my name is Danny Bensky. I was 17 years old when I was abused by Jeffrey Epstein. I was a high school student. In classrooms all over the U.S., we are taught with liberty and justice for all that justice piece really needs some work. I am one of the hundreds of survivors who had their most personal and sensitive information released by Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, and the Department of Justice. If your neighbor published all of your personal information on a public website, would that be criminal? How about if they shared intimate details of the most harrowing moments of your teen years? What if you knew they published porn without the consent of those involved, maybe even a photo of you that you didn't even know existed? Would you consider any of that to be a criminal act? Let us be clear. What Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche have done is criminal. They have broken the law. And yet, they decide to use government funds and taxpayer dollars to criminally investigate our survivor sister, E. Jean Carroll, instead of pursuing a single investigative lead from the 3.5 million files of documents from the U.S.'s largest sex trafficking ring. We deserve more than a transcribed interview. We deserve a proper under oath sworn deposition that is filmed and released. We deserve to hear every inflection, see every reaction, and digest this information in real time so that we can figure out a response for ourselves. As a nation, we deserve more than closed-door, backroom deals. We have already been through 5 administrations and Acosta's 2008 plea deal. What is it going to take for transparency and consequences for criminal activity to exist? Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche have derailed the lives of so many survivors. They have serious questions to answer for. So for the Epsteinth time, when do we get investigations? And who the hell are we protecting? Thank you. Yes. Oh, sorry, there are leads. Yes, there are leads. There are lots and lots and lots of leads in the files. So these are regarding Indike and Khan, who would be the accountant and the lawyer. And you can see that they are, Richard Khan is taking large withdrawals of money and is very much aware that he's talking about Jeffrey needs $6,000 for his black bag. Black bag was to pay for massages. That's just one, that's a small one, but you see all these leads here, you see names. Tons of names that we have shared time and time again with everybody closed door. We have shared them with the FBI. That's why we have 302s, because we were talked to by the FBI or went with a statement. We have plenty, there's a map of co-conspirators. Who are these people? Why are they not out there? So we have done our job. We have gone to the FBI. We hope Kash Patel can reach out and maybe we can help him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I didn't write anything because I think this is something that it has to come from the heart. We're extremely frustrated with the cover-up, with the DOJ, with Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi, everybody asking us to go to the FBI. We did not need to go to the FBI. We have done that numerous of times. And at this point, the cover-up and the failure of the DOJ and by our government has gone far enough. So at this point, we want to just help people understand that we will continue to fight. And along with my sisters, my survivor sisters have said, we have leads, we have names, we are all reading the same file. Are we not? We are allowing the government, the DOJ, this administration to gaslight us. So let's follow the leads. Let's investigate. Thank you. This is, I'm sorry, I'm Marina Lacerda, by the way, minor victim 1.
Good morning. My name is Liz Stein. I was 21 years old in 1994 and a senior in college when I met Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I've spent more than 30 years living with the consequences of what happened to me. More than 30 years carrying memories, trauma, questions, and the lifelong impact of being victimized as a young woman. I've spent those 30 years doing what so many survivors do, trying to heal, trying to rebuild, and trying to move forward. But healing does not eliminate the need for accountability, and that's why today matters. For years, survivors have come forward. We reported abuse. We shared what we knew. We told the truth. We trusted institutions that asked us to trust them, and we did so because we believed the system would do what it promised to do: investigate these crimes, pursue evidence, and hold perpetrators accountable. Instead, many survivors have spent decades watching opportunities for accountability come and go, while people who caused us harm have continued with their lives. That is not a political failure, it is a moral one. I have in my hands several investigative leads. This is a map of potential co-conspirators. As you can see, many of the people on this graph have been blacked out. You want to know why? I'm also holding in my hand an email dated July 24th, 2025. This is from Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche's Department of Justice, and it is an email that has a list of potential co-conspirators. We don't know what happened. We don't know if any of these co-conspirators were investigated. That's why we need answers. When survivors' identities are exposed while perpetrators are protected, that tells us something. When investigative leads are ignored, that sends a message. When transparency is withheld, that should cause concern. It tells us that the pursuit of justice has become secondary to the protection of institutions and powerful people. And that should concern every American. Because the question before us is not whether these crimes occurred. The question is whether we as a nation are willing to confront the full truth of them. The tragedy of the Epstein case is not only what happened to us, it is that so many opportunities to pursue accountability have been missed afterward. I'm here today because survivors deserve better. The American people deserve better. We all deserve dignity, transparency, and accountability. And after all these years, we deserve to know that justice in America is not reserved for the powerful, but available to everyone. Because justice delayed may be justice denied, but justice abandoned is something far worse, and we are not giving up this fight.
Could you say your first and last name again?
Liz Stein.
S-T-E-I-N?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See, now you know my
It's good? Okay. Hi, my name is Laura Bloom McGee. The first thing I want to say before I read my remarks is we are tired, we are frustrated, but Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, we are not going away. We are going to be here until we have answers. And if we do not have answers in this administration, we will get them. We believe that justice will happen. I stand before you not just as a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, but as a testament to the countless voices that have been silenced, ignored, and forgotten. Each one of us here carries a story of trauma, betrayal, and an unyielding fight for justice. Imagine for a moment the weight of knowing that the very system meant to protect us has instead exposed us to further harm. Who approved the release of documents that revealed our names and shattered our lives once more? This is not just a question, it's a plea for accountability. The individuals entrusted with our safety have turned into the architects of suffering. Pam Bondi, as our former Attorney General, you had the power to shield us, yet you allowed our identities to be paraded in public, leaving us vulnerable to the very predators we sought to escape. Why was there no cross-checking of the names of survivors? Why were we not treated with the dignity we deserved? The failure is not simply bureaucratic, it is a deep betrayal that lives through our lives. The release of nude photographs and deeply personal materials is not just an oversight. It is a crime against dignity. Who will be held accountable for this breach? We demand to know why no one has faced consequences for these errors. Can you comprehend the pain of watching powerful individuals evade justice while survivors are left to bear the scars of their inaction? We've been told that the investigation is over. Yet every day, new evidence emerges. All the evidence is in the files. New voices join the chorus of the unheard. Did the DOJ or the FBI truly investigate every individual named by victims? How many are left unexamined, their crimes buried under layers of bureaucratic indifference? Survivors have bravely come forward, sharing their stories of abuse, only to be met with silence and neglect. Why should we believe that this time will be any different? Why should we trust that the investigations into our suffering is anything but a facade? The files reveal a wealth of leads, yet they remain untouched, gathering dust as we continue to grapple with our trauma. Let us not forget that every name on those files represents a life shattered and a dream stolen. We deserve more than acknowledgement. We demand action. The DOJ and FBI must commit to pursuing these leads with urgency they deserve. We need to know why specific individuals identified across multiple documents have never been investigated or charged. This is just not about us. It's about all of humanity. It's about ensuring that no one else endures the pain we have faced. Every survivor deserves justice. Every voice deserves to be heard. And every perpetrator must be held accountable. Thank you.
My name is Andrea Sterling. I am a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm breaking my silence because I'm done. I was living in New York when I was brought in by underage girls, just like me by then, who were also victims, trained to do what was done to them. Nobody told me what I was really walking into, and that was part of the trap. What happened in that room was the most violating experience in my life. No child, woman, or human being should ever be disposable to powerful men. We carried this for decades. They carried on careers and power protected by the very system that was supposed to protect us. We are demanding real prosecution, no sealed deals, immunity, or exceptions, regardless of wealth, title, or connections. If these men had not targeted us, we would have never walked to that door. We would have continued our teenagers' activities. Our future would have been different. We deserve justice. We deserve closure for ourselves and for every family that has carried this weight alongside us. The United States is losing respect globally, and those responsible are still protected by the system. We are not going away, and everyone in the government will show us exactly who they are, people of justice or people protecting power.
We're happy to take a couple of questions if you have them.
Were you satisfied with, you had Comer saying that they've now conducted 13 interviews related to the Epstein investigation. Were you satisfied with that response, and what do you make since you're saying in the last 6 months you really haven't seen any progress?
I mean, I'll start and then you guys can jump in, but we have met with Chairman Comer's office. We think that this is just the beginning, and we are grateful that he has taken this immensely seriously, which he has, but we know that this is one step in a marathon, and the government needs to get to business because there's a lot of information that needs to be uncovered, there's a lot of leads that need to be followed, and there are a lot of people that need to be brought to accountability.
Sarah Cohen reportedly named several men that she said had abused her. Do you have any indication that there's been any investigation into any of the men she named in the hearing?
We don't have that information.
Has any investigations been started?
We don't have that information either.
Why do you think that the former Attorney General won't do this in public, won't do it in a formal setting, and won't do it on a video?
I don't know. I really hope that we are not using Pam Bondi as a scapegoat, because I fear that everything is going to fall on her shoulders when Todd Blanche had quite a lot to do with this. He is not the choice I think any of us would have picked to be AG after he moved Ghislaine Maxwell to a lower security penitentiary. She's basically at a country club, and there's never been an answer for that. So a lot of the time I feel that Todd Blanche is actually more dangerous in a lot of ways than Bondi. So I hope that they both work together and answer some serious questions.
How about the FBI Director, Cash Patel? Do you have any thoughts about his behavior?
I think, okay, so what we're hearing from congressional leaders is that the files are coming to them redacted. So even though they're saying that Congress can go in and see the unredacted files, that's not really true because they're redacting them within the FBI. So I actually feel like Kash Patel has exactly the same amount of questions to answer as Pam Bondi.
And you would like to see him testify in
I would,
public?
yes, I would.
The other thing that's just worth saying is that there was an internal memo within DOJ that I think was dated July 24th with a list of, here we go, with a list of people that caused harm to some of these survivors. On, I believe, September 17th, Kash Patel spoke in front of Congress and said that there are no credible leads. I'd like to know what transpired between this date with this document and September 17th, because it would seem that there would have to be a tremendous amount of investigation into all of these people, and that's not information that we currently have. So we would love for him to come in and give us some explanations.
Maybe stop his partying and actually show up for us. That would be nice.
I think I'll take more. I just, you guys can step in, please. But, something that we did get out, pretty much the only thing that we got out of the last Bondi hearing was that she said that investigations had been started. And all of us turned around to each other and said, wait, who, what, where, and why, where? And then she was fired. So, we really have answers on that too. We hope that there were investigations that were started, but we're getting so lost in translation, and I think that the survivors really need to be included in this entire conversation because we have done so much work as far as bringing leads to the FBI, telling our stories over and over again, in giving testimony recently. I mean, it's nonstop. So we do hope that there are investigative leads. Yeah.
understand why she needed an attorney to come here today. Does she really need one? She just has to speak the truth, right? I feel like that's all she has to do, is to be honest, to be transparent. I think that's all we need here. It's just helping the cover-up at this point.
I think that for a former attorney general to be represented by current government counsel is something that should also raise eyebrows and cause concern.
And also the timing of even being here on a, just the sheer timing of we're here on Memorial Day week when nothing has been in session, and it's all of those distraction tactics, right? There were so many people that were in their home states that had to fly back for this testimony. So the fact that it's closed door, she has counsel that is problematic to say the least. There are quite a few issues with the way this whole thing has been structured, but at least she's here. So that's a step in the right direction.
Are any of you today aware of survivors that are not here today that have been in touch with the FBI or DOJ?
FBI, I mean, we've given statements at the FBI, sorry. Yeah, I mean, many of us have spoken to the FBI over the years, right? That's you're talking 30 years, right? We know that the first report was 1996 with Maria Farmer. So yes, the FBI, totally. As far as the DOJ goes, nothing.
Can I just take a moment? I think that what we're not understanding in all of this press coverage is what we're looking at. What we're looking at is not the names of powerful men. What we're looking at is a sex trafficking operation that operated both in the United States and internationally. And so what we need to do as a nation is refocus. Our Department of Justice is in charge of handling crimes and protecting survivors and victims of crimes. And I think that that's really getting lost in all of the political discourse about this case. And I really it's important for me that we bring our attention back to what we're looking at. We're looking at a crime, and it's a crime of sex trafficking.
Any comments ahead of Bill Gates' same situation behind closed doors a couple weeks?
I mean, everybody on these lists should be in that room. That's for sure. But they should be in the room with a camera and sworn under oath. We don't care if it's Bill Gates. I could run through these names. Every one of them should be in that room. But to have them in that room with a transcribed interview where we are not actually seeing what is transpiring, that is a problem, not just for these survivors, for survivors everywhere, and for the American public. And that needs to change.
I think also, what we've seen so far in these hearings, we've seen a lot of perjury in these hearings happen already. That lead that I was holding up from Richard Kahn earlier, it clearly states that he knew that he was withdrawing large sums of money. So we're having these hearings and we're talking and asking our congressional leaders, what happens? What is the consequence when we find out that they are purging themselves, right? And there really isn't a consequence. What they're saying is they'll bring them back in. So we're stuck in a loop. Where is the consequence? When do we finally hold somebody in contempt? When do we finally get a hearing that is an actual sworn deposition, which is all we've been asking for? I think we need to investigate it. I think it's an investigative lead. I'm not saying that he did or did not at this point, because I'm not a lawyer. I am not in that world. I'm a dance teacher, right? But there is evidence that that is the case. So I would hope that our congressional officials would really take that lead very seriously and look into it. And that's just one lead of many. Thank you.
And I would like to read a lead. This is from the New York FBI to the New York FBI, dated July 24th, 2025. I will be in the office within the next 2 hours and will handle task 1, from redacted to redacted. Why are these people redacted? That's the first question I have. JE task 7/24. Ladies, Sorry for the timing of this email. Just saw the late text on my phone and don't want to forget to send first thing, redacted. If you are in early, would you please handle task 1? Please copy me and redacted. Redacted. Let's work on manipulating the spreadsheet we have for number 2. Tasks. 1. Confirm we interviewed cellmate of first suicide attempt. Apparently, lawyer at the time made an allegation call. Mate tried to kill Epstein and send ASC redacted the 302. Task 2. Take these names and build out new spreadsheet along the Durag on them. But it just says Durag. Trump, Weinstein, Prince Andrew, Glenn Dubin, Jess Staley, Leon Black, Les Wexner, Alan Dershowitz, Bill Clinton, Tony Blair, Howard Lutnick, Ponzi scheme and money laundering, Alexander Guest, Jean-Luc Brunel, William Barr for being present when a girl was raped. This is the FBI to the FBI. What is the FBI and the DOJ? What are they doing? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing. Me and my sisters, we have created a website, by us, for us. It's survivorsisters.org. And on that website, we have a timeline of Epstein's crimes that we know of. And we also have investigative leads on there and bios of survivors, the public survivors. Again, it's survivorsisters.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's for Virginia Dupree. She loved butterflies, but she also said that it was the metamorphosis from victim to survivor. So it really represents each of our metamorphosis through physical process.
The truth is that redacted. Epstein survivors are still waiting. Release the blank.
Thank you so much.